Hi, I am Erika Randall, Content Director for HR Daily Advisor. We're live at the Spark HR 2025 event, and I'm here with Ben Eubanks. So great to have you, Ben. Ben is from Lighthouse Research Advisory. And Ben, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your title. Tell us a little bit about your company.
Absolutely. So I am a researcher and author and speaker. So I work for a company called Lighthouse Research and Advisory. As the chief research officer, it's my job to try to figure out what the heck is going on out there, Erika, and help all of our friends in HR figure that out. So we do research on talent acquisition, learning, payroll, a little bit of everything.
Sure.
And that all stems from my love of this field. I wanted to be in HR when I was a kid, even before I knew what it was called. And I worked in HR before I became a researcher.
Ben, you're also, as you mentioned, you're an author. You have 2 books that you've authored that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Are there more than that?
Can I add one to the list?
Yes. Please do. I have Artificial Intelligence for HR, Use AI to Build a Successful Workforce, and then Talent Scarcity, How to Hire and Retain a Shrinking Workforce. What's the third one?
The third one, the new book, is called The Payroll Promised, Trust, Not Just Transactions. And so all of these books are a way to help all of our friends in HR. It's a job that's often thankless. Mm-hmm. It's a job that is difficult, and the data show that HR burnout is higher than ever before.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy to be heads down, just turning away and feel like you're getting nowhere, making no progress. And so each of the books is with a different focus meant to help them get a grasp on what's happening, take a bigger lens and view of the world, but also some practical things, stories of other companies who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right? They've already been through that. And you can follow their path to success. So I love sharing those stories, trying to be practical, weaving some research in there because I can't get away from that. Sure. But it's really meant to be just a practical guide to being better as an HR leader. And I have a big heart for that.
It sounds like you're covering all of the big topics that HR leaders are struggling with.
I do my very best to, right? There's no shortage of those topics too, because even here at the conference, I was sharing with the audience on how to hack a problem they're working on. I give them a list of like 20 different ideas.
Sure.
And someone's like, well, my name's not on there. I'm like, I know our job descriptions are like 10 pages long in HR. It's like other duties assigned, could be a lot of things. But that's also that variety is also one of the things that makes people love this job too.
So Ben, you led one of our really cool interactive workshops here at Spark HR. And so I wanted to talk more about that. We called them a sprint, an innovation sprint. So basically you're talking about HR challenges and how to work through those with hands-on solutions. So one of the things that I know in your description of this workshop was, how many times have HR professionals attended an event, taken tons of notes, and then returned to work only to struggle and just kind of they haven't put those ideas into action. So your goal for this workshop was to give them these actionable solutions, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to know, what were some of the challenges that came up in the workshops? What did people talk about?
So we had a whole range of things. I mean, everything from recruiting and selection, how do we pick the right people, to we have this problem with turnover and retention's a challenge, and what's triggering that? How do we solve for it? Even we are putting managers in place because of how long they've been here, not because they're good at managing. How do we solve for that? And so each of the audience members brings their own challenge. That's what makes this so fun. I tell everyone, listen, you're going to get ideas from people here as we're going through this. And if it's a great idea, you get to go back to work and be the hero. You get to go back and take that and put it into place. And so many of the ideas, I love going through, seeing people get their ideas back and seeing that light bulb go off, like, this is the thing I can't wait to go and try. And so it's so important for us to get those takeaways. And I'm telling you, listen, you're learning so many good things here at the HR Spark conference. It's an incredible event, but now you got to go put something into practice, and we're going to talk about how to do that and give you a pathway to run on.
That's awesome. Do you ever hear back from attendees?
Oh yeah.
And they say, look, this is the outcome, this is the result.
So 2 things. Number one, I actually shared today some of the different hacks and ideas that I've gotten from groups over the last year from different events. And so everybody loves to see those. The other part though, I hear from people that are like, listen, I learned so much from that. I actually took it back and we did it again as a team back at work. And we've used that. One leader told me that they use it every year as part of their HR offsite to make sure they're focusing on the right things and looking for small changes to make to lead to better outcomes, better results. One of the problems that we face in HR is we often feel like I've got to control everything else outside the box, and that's where a lot of that burnout comes from. There's certain things we can't control. Guess what? Humans are human, and that makes it hard.
Right.
And so the process we go through is really narrowly defining work within your box.
Good.
Focus on the things you can control.
Yep.
And when you're making those changes, you're making those little incremental adjustments. It's not this massive 10-month plan with a big budget and 3 headcount. It's I'm making these little changes, and it's 2% better. It's 4% better. It's 5% better. When those start piling on top of each other, suddenly the outcomes there become very powerful, and it's like the compound interest of good HR, which I love.
Yeah, definitely. I love that idea of just start small, maybe pick one thing. You might have a bunch of things that you have to deal with, but just pick one, and then chip away at it, and then it's like a snowball effect, right? Oh, that's such a great strategy. You talk about something called creative destruction, but what I'd love to talk about is, and that has to do with experimentation.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit, why should we or HR leaders be experimenting? Why?
Yes. So the secret word that everyone should learn when they get in HR is pilot. Okay. A pilot is a small experiment. It's a trial. It's a test, and it allows you to try an idea without having to go all in. Like push all the chips to the table, like on the movies, the poker game, like push it all in. That's really risky for careers, for businesses, for people.
Sure.
And so what I find instead is let's experiment with something small. Let's make a little change. Instead of saying we're going to take all of our managers and shove them through this new program that may or may not work, let's take a little group of our managers, treat them a different way, train them a different way, and see if 6 months down the road, if their people are staying, if they're performing better, if they're engaged. And suddenly that little experiment lets us see that was a good path or there was no change. Not worth it, right? But we can find out with a little bit before we have to go all in on that. I think that's the power of experimentation for HR, is we can do that across learning, across recruiting, across benefits, communications, almost anything we can imagine. We can find a way to do that, and it leads to a better outcome.
So the secret word is pilot.
Pilots.
Awesome. For those HR leaders who are not able to be here in lovely Orlando, how would they run a sprint? Or I guess it's all about experimentation. Is that right?
So a couple of things. Number one, anyone can do this anywhere. Okay, I love doing it here. It's obviously better at the HR Spark conference. Okay, but when HR leaders think about this, it's what are the things I'm working on? What are some small pieces of that I could adjust or change and tweak? Right. And here again, we get into the weeds of that, some other things. But if someone's listening and wants to try this out themselves, think about that problem that gives you a little bit of headache to think about, or when it's on your to-do list, it just you're like, oh, I'm going to push that out. I'm calling sick that day. Think about that problem. But the most important thing is not think about the problem, but what would it look like if it works? If our leadership, our leader onboarding process is broken, okay?
Right.
Throw someone in the deep end and say, good luck.
Right.
Okay, lots of companies do that.
Sure.
Whether intentionally or unintentionally. So let's say we're going to fix that. What's the aspiration? And the aspiration can't be, it should be better. Because that's like saying, I'm going to eat healthier. And that's too vague, and no one knows if you've hit that or not. So in the eating context, it's I'm going to eat 1 piece of fresh fruit a day. In this context, maybe we have leaders with teams whose retention is 70% or higher, or we have leaders who do a weekly check-in with every single person one-on-one to make sure they're okay. But that aspiration then leads into how can we start changing things around them, processes, the people, the systems, to make sure that we're getting at that and hacking it to solve that. So that's the basic piece of it. And anyone can do that. I just love giving them some ideas here. That's the fun of it too, is I get to share some of the ideas that have worked for other companies and the ways they're trying to solve these. Because inevitably, I'll have someone that's saying, well, I'm trying to solve this problem. And someone 2 tables over saying, me too. And they want to compare notes and find out, okay, what'd you get? Here's what I got. Let's try to figure out how to do this together.
What a great process, Ben. And again, you're giving them actions they can take and also specific outcomes as well, which is so important. We need to measure those results.
Yes, absolutely.
So what's one takeaway that you would offer to HR leaders and what they might need to know right now?
I think I'll go back to what I said a little bit ago about the burnout thing. That's a real issue. We're seeing it in all the data. Burnout across the workforce is high.
Yes.
The number of people who are making mental health claims for disability claims is higher than ever. And so HR is the tip of the spear on that, and often faces that themselves, but they're often too busy to even stop and make sure they take care of themselves. So the phrase I've heard some people say over the last year is, put your own mask on first. and I hate that phrase. Erika, I hate the phrase.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Because I've yet to be an HR leader. It's like, I just want to survive.
Yeah.
They have this heart of service. They care about people.
Correct.
And the metaphor I prefer is you can't serve from an empty cup.
Nice.
Right? You can't pour into someone else if your cup is empty. So make sure you're filling your own cup.
Yep.
Because HR leaders have this heart of service, of gratitude, of appreciation for their people, for the opportunity to impact lives in a positive way.
Sure.
And when they have that heart of service and they're taking the time to make sure the cup is full, they can do that as much as they want.
Great advice. Absolutely. And okay, fun question to end our podcast. What is your favorite Disney ride?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this may be sacrilege, all right?
Okay.
So I had a chance to visit Disneyland for the first time ever.
Me too.
And the ride that I loved most was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, cool.
Getting a chance. It's very much like the Tower of Terror. Someone's done the Disney World.
Sure.
But it's got Guardians of the Galaxy themed.
Yes.
My kids all love the movies. Cool. So we had a blast on that one. It made us laugh and it made us scream a little bit too.
I'm sure I would totally scream. Ben, thank you so much for being on our podcast. Lovely to have you here, and thank you for doing the workshop. I know all of our leaders who attended are leaving with action items that they're actually going to implement, and I'm sure you'll hear from them after the fact and say, Ben, it worked. Thank you so much. So again, enjoy the rest of the time here at the conference. So thank you again for listening to our podcast. I'm Erika Randall for HR Daily Advisor.